let's look at this alt season question. So if you want to get rid of the hex fire, and yeah, shout out Crispy Man because he does have insane data on there. Him and Axis Alive are always working really hard on that kind of stuff. But what is an alt season? So our poll question tonight was just quite simply: are we in an alt season right now? In your opinion, yes or no? And it's pretty much split. 53% say no, 47% say yes so far. So let's try to define what this is. What actually is an alt season? We see it all the time. You see major crypto influencers always talking about it and traders and stuff like that. You and I actually have been going back and forth on this, basically over people were getting pissed off at Sami, which they often do, because he was talking about, hey, we may be already pretty deep into an alt season right now. And people are like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, things haven't even moved. What's going on? And I think there's more nuance to what he was talking about than that. I think he was more referencing like he started calling it a warm-up alt season. He didn't mean like, Bitcoin's at a new all-time high and all coins are flying against Bitcoin. He didn't mean that. But he meant that we're in an alt season, not like the alt season right now. And that a lot of stuff has moved. I mean, as much as people don't want to admit it, maybe with PulseChain, like a lot of stuff has moved. Not like what we're probably going to see this bull cycle, but we have seen movement from a lot of altcoins for sure. So I think what he means is just that we've gone up a lot already. Doesn't mean it's the final huge BTC alt season or whatever. But let's just try to define what an alt season actually is, how many there may be within a cycle, and what you consider an alt season. So Ewok, I'll throw it to you. I mean, like, I know your interpretation when you saw him tweeting that, I think was more so like, no, an alt season is like the huge blow off when we're over Bitcoin all-time high and stuff. So how do you kind of look at it? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I mean, it's just how people look at it. But yeah, what do you make of it?
Yeah, there's not a right or wrong answer. You can call it what you want, and people define it differently. But we have to remember Hart's law is effective just the same for PulseChain as it is Ethereum for Bitcoin and things like that. The reason you're seeing a lot of these altcoins run right now is because the majority of the trading pair is probably tied to Bitcoin. So guess what? When Bitcoin runs up, you're going to see these coins that are heavily correlated by their trading pair to Bitcoin. You're going to see them go too. And one of the reasons why we're not seeing it on our side is because there are no trading pairs, right? You don't see a Bitcoin and PulseChain trading pair anywhere. So it's not affecting us like it is a lot of the other things that are tradable on Binance or Coinbase or whatever, if you're going to trade those, those tokens. So to call this an alt season, like I said, I've always been one of the opinions where alt season doesn't start until, you get the all-time high for Bitcoin. It rallies 28 days later. You probably see roughly 28 days. You see the Ethereum top. Ethereum Foundation pays off or sells a bunch of tokens again. Right. And then that's when alt season, for me, my definition of it, that's when it starts. And you start to see this crazy run up of everything because people are taking on more risk with their profits and things like that. So, for me, I think we're way early. I don't think you've seen anything yet. In fact, Big Funky said it. This thing has barely started. I don't think we're anywhere near that point to even call it an alt season. I just think it's a warm up is a good term probably to use. A warm up for the bull market. We haven't even hit the halving yet. So, there's a lot of things in play that just haven't happened yet. And I think people are just kind of putting the cart in front of the horse at this point. And, maybe there's a lot of new people in this system and that don't understand it or haven't seen it yet. But you'll know when it's here. And I just don't think we've gotten to that point yet.
Well, I do agree with you. I mean, I think like the major what people might classically mean as alt season is when we get over Bitcoin all-time high and things fly like melt your face basically type territory. To defend what I think Sami's saying a little bit and go into what he's saying. I will say I think sometimes he says stuff and positions them in a way where he wants to do the opposite of what most like crypto influencers do, because they want you to just go in on a wing and a prayer. And hey, if you've got $500 laying around, if you put it into this, you'll become a millionaire.
Right.
Like a lot of people are operating totally fucking backwards, like compared to how you should be. So I'm not saying he's like lying or infatuating like what he means, but I think he wants to come at it at a far more conservative level. So like, how can you really be that pissed at yourself later on if you come at it that way? Like, if you are buying every penny that you possibly can right now with any spare change, are you going to be more mad at yourself later? You know, if these are tokens that you believe in anyway, that you're investing in, I don't think you will, you know? So I think he just likes to prepare people to like be as aggressive as humanly possible now, because you're not going to be able to do anything later. So
Yep.
I think that's where he comes out with a lot of that stuff. And again, like
Yep.
I said, a lot of alts have moved. I mean, like we've seen, I know I sent you, and you and I both watched that stream with, the BitMEX guy, Arthur Hayes, a couple of weeks ago on Jesus, I can't remember anything. What's that channel? Hot British Chick interviewed him.
I hadn't watched it until you told me about it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll have to start watching that because she's quite attractive.
Well, it's a guy. The guy's name is Guy. I don't know why I can't think of his channel right
Yeah.
now. He's been around forever, but he kind of just always toes the line and doesn't really give any real opinion on anything, and shits on Hex on Twitter occasionally and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
they interviewed Arthur Hayes, and you know they were talking about like AI coins being a narrative, and a lot of AI coins have already gone up a ton, just because it's like it may be total garbage, but it's like slap AI on there, and people are like, oh, you know, they're willing to speculate. So make no mistake, I mean, we have definitely seen a lot of tokens move hard. But that doesn't mean, you know, the question that we put in the show tonight, it says, it's not PulseChain. Has it missed alt season? And that's definitely not true. I mean, number one, if we are even in a muted one right now, I don't think that we're at the end of it necessarily. And yeah, I mean, the real gains are going to come when Bitcoin hits all-time high. That doesn't mean there's not going to be any gains until then at all. We're just talking about like the crazy euphoria stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. So
Coin Bureau.
There you go. And to your point earlier, Ewok, or what we already talked about in the last segment, I mean, I think we're going to see this ecosystem pump when BTC is coming back down to the 30Ks again. So, I mean, they're not going to always move in concert. You don't have to have Bitcoin moving up for the alts to move up. Matter of fact, it should go the opposite direction for a while after this run. So, yeah.
Yep, I agree. And like I had mentioned earlier, I really think a lot of these run-ups with the AI coins is because they're paired with Bitcoin, and you're seeing that happen. You know, it's funny when you see some of these new tokens that are released, even depending on their pair, and you know, because they're weighted so heavily with that pair runs a little bit, and the new coin takes off and say, oh, look at my new coin just did a 30x. Well, your coin did a 30x because it's weighted so heavily with this coin that also did a 5x. And, you know, you got 6 times as many of them. So that's why it went 30x. And people don't really understand that. And they think they keep missing out on some of these coins. Well, they're done that way. The liquidity is set that way so that they do run whenever there's a little bit of a PulseChain rise or whatever it may be. So just beware of that, people. You know, like you said, you're not missing out on anything. A lot of these are rising because of Bitcoin rising, and that's all it really is right now. So, yeah, we haven't seen alt season yet. Sami can call it whatever he wants. I don't agree with the terminology, and you're right. He does wear the hat with the propeller on top. So
he wears literal hats. Yeah, he wears man of many hats.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, yeah. I think alt season doesn't necessarily have, you know, in Webster's dictionary. Last I look, I don't think they have alt season in there. So
no, not yet.
Until we get it added, we'll have to just keep making our own definition. But either way, things are going up right now, so it's nice.